There was a lady in like the Middle East. She went to the United States. She actually went back to her country. She explained that the United States had like this demonic lullaby. Think about the amount of like lukewarm Christians. We're so comfortable that we're living in this like demonic lullaby. You know, if I was the devil, I'd want to get people as comfortable as they can. Like I wouldn't want to send people off to war. Then they're going to start questioning their death and their eternity. But if you had them in a place that they never had to question their eternity, not going to care where they're going to go when they die. Alright, what is going to be talking?
Let's go.
What is
Let's
up?
go. Welcome to the Grain of Salt the Grain of Salt podcast.
That works.
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty great.
It is,
Glad to be here.
dude. Okay, so for all the viewers out there, this is a weird episode for me because I don't know if you guys knew this, but I used to have a different podcast apart from this, like a few years ago, and the guy who started it with me is on the couch today.
Yeah, what was it called? Valedictorians? Shout out Valedictorians.
Dude, it was it was like equally as weird because Brody, like, he moved to Hawaii.
Yeah,
so 2 days ago, I'm not getting a tattoo, but my brother's getting a tattoo and I was with him. Brody calls me. He's like, yo, I'm back in town for 2 weeks. And 2 days later, we got him on in the podcast studio. We also have Brent.
Hello.
If you guys could just summarize yourselves in one word, what word would that be?
What you got, Brent? I'd say spontaneous.
I don't think that. No, I don't think so.
One word, dude. Dang, you took a pretty good word there, dude. Spontaneous. All right. Honestly, just goofy, dude. That's me. I'm pretty goofy, dude. Yeah.
Bro, where are your pants at?
I don't know.
He's got the camo pants on. But yeah, guys, today, cool episode. We're just gonna be talking. We're just gonna be speaking. We have absolutely no plans, really.
Speaking life into
Talking life. Give y'all the update.
Yeah, but how have you guys been? I purposely haven't been asking too many questions like because I just wanted to be raw. Like, how have you guys been?
Dude, life's been good. It's been kind of crazy. It's been kind of all over the place. It's good to see Gavin. Gavin, out of nowhere, just left the Bocas, right?
Yeah.
He's going to college out there, so that's pretty dope. It's great for him. But life's been good. I just got back to the States a couple days ago, so it feels good to be back. Actually, like a week ago. So, yeah.
So you want to tell the people where all you've been in the past? Because, like, Brody is an insane explorer, guys. Like, when he says spontaneous, he means it. Like, where all have you been, like, the past year?
I mean, the past year it hasn't been too crazy because I was in Hawaii. But right before I did some traveling through Central America, and then when we say spontaneous, is me and a couple of my friends. There was 5 of us. I went back to Florida for a week, and then we all just booked one-way tickets to Hawaii. You know, so we lived out there for about a year, and then I went to Mexico for about a couple weeks, and then Belize for about 2 months, helping a ministry down there. And then I'm going back to Hawaii, but I'm in the States for like 2 weeks. So,
Where all did you go in Central America? Because I remember seeing you post everywhere, but I don't even like remember where all you went.
So the time I spent most of my time in was Costa Rica, Panama, and Belize. So those are like my top 3 right now.
How are the hostels? I've never seen a hostel before.
Hostels, you know, surprisingly, everybody thinks like hostels are super raggedy, torn down, bed bugs. Now that can be true, but
where he was staying.
But yeah, you got like usually in like a lot of touristy places, you got like 10 hostels or a bunch of hostels. If you go up to like Nicaragua, I know there's some sketchy hostels, but Costa Rica is pretty touristy right now. And if you go to like Santa Teresa, Monteverde, it's a lot more popular for backpackers. And there's a backpacker route really everywhere you go. So just stay along the path and stay at the nicer hostels, and you'll be good.
Do you have any like dangerous or like scary things happen when you were over there?
Okay, so there was one thing. It was kind of crazy, actually. So, you know, before I moved to Hawaii, I always wanted to surf. We surf in Florida. We live in Florida, right? Out by Cocoa Beach. But it's like a 3-hour drive from where we live in Tampa. So
For the 3-foot waves.
yeah, for like 2 foot, 3 foot waves, but
maybe 4 on a good day.
On a good day, yeah.
It's kind of bad, bro.
It's pretty bad. It's kind of tragic. I don't know how Kelly Slater did it. But yeah, I was up in Santa Teresa, which is on like the west coast of Costa Rica. And first day I got there, I had some buddies, met up with some friends, and they had a rental board. It was like a foamy. And I went out there. I went out like way out to the break, like, and I got super far out there. It's about to be sunset. There's like no more people out there. It was like crazy waves. It was super gnarly. And I got out there, and I get all the way out there. One wave just crashes me in my what is it called?
The leash.
My ankle leash comes off.
Oh.
So that sucked. I was kind of scared because I was super far out there. There was nobody out there. I don't even think they have lifeguards. And I think they have like one lifeguard, but it's way far down the beach. And the current's not pushing towards the beach. It's pushing like left, like out, kind of, towards these like rocks or whatever. And I'm just getting pummeled by these huge, huge waves and don't have my ankle leash. And I'm just treading water, like it feels like forever, until a guy finds my board like on the beach and then straps it to his ankle and then swims it out and like swims straight out and just finds me.
Dang,
it was such a god thing.
That is a friend right there.
Yeah. I didn't even know the guy, but I was so thankful.
Wow,
like, super thankful.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah, pretty gnarly.
Dang, gnarly, dude! You've adopted the Hawaiian culture.
Yeah.
You sound like a surfer guy.
So yeah, a lot of respect for the waves after that. And then when I moved to Hawaii, I was a lot chiller. I wasn't gonna go out to Pipeline and start shredding out the 10-foot waves.
So I remember moving to Hawaii was like your dream.
Yeah.
Like, now that you're there, what's like the best part?
Shoot, the best part of Hawaii, man. It's just everything's so close, right? So if you're watching this and you're from Florida, you know how flat it is. And Hawaii is just like, it's got the Keys, Florida Keys, like water, like the clarity. It's got a lot of really beautiful like marine life. And the mountains are just like phenomenal, right? Like they look like fingers like grabbed onto a mountain. Like Kauai is just absolutely gnarly. And if you ever want a good hike, the Kalalau Trail in Kauai is across the Nepali coast. It's like a 22-mile stretch, super crazy. But to sum it up, so I don't talk forever, Hawaii is just super close in proximity. It's like 45 minutes the other side of the island. You got surf, spearfishing, surfing, hiking. Windsurfing, I don't know, anything you want to do, like any activity, it's just like it's there.
What's your favorite like side of the island?
My favorite, I mean,
like north, south.
It's got to be North Shore.
North Shore, okay.
Yeah, I live on the south side, because I sell tours. That's where all the tourism really is, over by Waikiki. North Shore is beautiful. It's awesome. East side's cool. North Shore, I just love it. It's like a place to get away. And yeah,
I went to Hawaii like 2.5 years ago, and I loved it.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
So nice.
What island did you go to?
Oahu.
You went to Oahu?
Yeah, I was actually staying down in Waikiki.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, we stayed at the Trump Towers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Little segue.
Yeah. So it's pretty gnarly, but I live in Waikiki.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, like if you're moving to Hawaii, I'd probably recommend not moving to Waikiki, but. Like I said, we went on like a one-way ticket, didn't know anything. So we moved to the most populated place, which was Waikiki.
Okay.
Because it's easiest, like we didn't have transportation, we had nothing. So
Yeah.
Pretty gnarly. Pretty expensive though.
So are you guys all still living together or no?
So it kind of split up a little bit. It's just the guys now. So we went with 5. 2 of the girls are kind of doing their own thing. One went back to Florida, wanted to do some tattoo stuff. But me, Owen, and Jared are still cruising, living it up.
Word.
So, yeah.
That's dope, yeah.
It's pretty dope. And Brent's thinking about moving there too, right?
I'm not gonna lie. He keeps on talking about it.
Wait. This is news to me. You're gonna move, bro.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
okay. Wait. Question-wise,
just drop everything, guys, and just go. You know what I'm saying?
How possible is it? Because obviously, like, I'm sure it's probably a lot, right?
Yeah. So
I think basically what you have to do is just once you get there, figure out what you're gonna do for a job, and then just live it out. But yeah.
So this can even be like a little short reel you can make. So if you're looking to move to Hawaii and you have no plan, you don't know what you're gonna do, it is possible. It is 100% possible. So I'm gonna break some misconceptions. Is I've heard that it's really hard to get a job out there. If you're my age in your 20s and not really care, just want to work on a boat or something, totally doable, super awesome. You do have to be cautious though. I mean, a lot of the locals kind of will hate on you, to be honest, for moving there, because it is their land, and when the U.S. came over, or I think it was like the British. But you might want to cut that part because I might be wrong. I don't want to sound uneducated. Basically, Captain Cook came in and then didn't let them speak their language, didn't completely eliminated their culture pretty much. So it's kind of a touchy subject. And then a lot of people would just come on daddy's money and not really work or do anything, but just consume without providing value. So, but if you want to work and you want to go live in Hawaii, totally do it. Just book a ticket and figure it out. Honestly,
A one-way ticket, preferably.
yeah. You just got to be super respectful of the land, and be respectful of the locals, of course. And yeah, that was kind of a long answer, but
No, I like it. I want the more in-depth answers. I don't want the
no, that's really good. Yeah.
Well, dude, that sounds so exciting.
it's pretty dope.
So, moving out and everything, how has your faith journey been since leaving home and everything? Because I know for me, when I left, it was a little rocky at first,
Yeah.
I definitely had a moment where I definitely strayed away, but I'm definitely back now. So just curious to see how that's been for you guys.
Yeah. And Brent, you can go. You want to go first?
No, you got it first.
All right. So,
I heard about yours, though.
I haven't actually really talked about this with anyone, but to be honest, when I moved to Hawaii, I just had done some traveling, etc. Still pretty strong in my journey, but for some reason, when I moved to Hawaii, it was just a lot. I was super stressed because I was working full time. Also, I got a girlfriend, so that's another full time job, right? So I was doing a lot, right? And I was trying to do some things on the side, some side hustles, and I'm just doing this all in my moped, and I just got really busy. I got really distracted. I went to church every once in a while, and I recognize the importance of community now and Christian friends.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of falling. I was falling in my faith, falling in. You start to question. You start kind of doing other things. You don't have the Holy Spirit kind of guiding you and giving you hey, you shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
It's kind of weird over time. You kind of, what is that one verse? God's kind of I don't know. He leaves you to your worldly desires, or he concretes your heart or something.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But that's kind of what happened. And, thankfully, I believe it's because my mom's prayers and stuff like that. I got a text one day to help out this ministry in Belize. And it's similar to YWAM where they disciple students. And they wanted me to help out with their social media. So I went down there and I lived with a pastor and his family. And they really brought me in and kind of transformed my mind and my life. And I was closer to God in those 2 months than I've been my entire life.
Wow.
Which was really crazy. And, teaches you a lot of fundamentals about God and how to, because there's 3 different voices, right? You got the enemy, you got your voice, and you got God's voice. And so it's kind of deciphering those. And
Wait, dude. Whoa, you got 3 voices, your voice, enemies, and God's.
yeah.
Wow, I actually love that.
Yeah. So you kind of got to be able to, decipher between those, because if you think every voice is from God, you can have the enemy, chatting in your ear. And then it was also just recognizing, at least for me, was the importance of boundaries, right? So a lot of people, and me too, as you think of this line between good and bad, right? And everybody rides that line. I've noticed, at least I did big time. So it's this is not technically bad, right?
Because it's this is the sin, and you're dabbling on it.
Right.
So you're going as
dabbling
far
on it.
as you can before it's considered sin.
Exactly,
Yeah.
as far as you can. But what people don't realize is the enemy, the devil, he works with footholds, right? He's grabbing a hold of you so slightly to where you can't even see it. You know what I'm saying? It's those little pushes, or these little chances that he just grab at you until you don't even realize you're in a place you don't want to be. And so it's kind of just all these things you struggle with is it's because you're right in that line for the most part. It's that line between good and bad is you have to draw a line like so far from that,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you want to draw that line far away and then don't even get close to that line. Like it's going to be in extremes, like in boundaries. Like I'm not going to do this because it will lead to this. I'm kind of going on a tangent. But,
No, you're
you know
you're
what I'm
doing
saying?
amazing, bro. Good job. Yeah.
But like essentially just like make your line of boundaries away from your previous line of boundaries. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
Because you're gonna trip into sin real quick.
I love that. Yeah.
But yeah. How about you, Brent?
All right, so
Wait, real quick. We got Brent.
what's good?
Oh wait, Brent can't even hear this.
I can't hear anything.
There's a song going.
All right.
For me personally, I went to North Carolina to do flight school, which you already know that.
Yes,
but
sir.
yeah, I went up there, and when I went up there, like there was less distractions and stuff. It was pretty chill. I basically just got to have time with God a lot more, have everything structured and stuff. But then when I came back down this way, I don't know. There's a lot more distractions. I feel like in like Florida compared to like up there, and so right now I'm just trying to figure out the structure of everything. But yeah,
What do you mean figure out the structure of everything?
just structuring my life a little bit better. You know what I'm saying?
I had someone come on the podcast a few episodes ago, and he told me that a lot of people, I don't know if this will help you at all, but a lot of people live life out of order. So they live body, mind, spirit. We're designed to live spirit, mind, body. So if we're living every day with our spirit first, and then our mind, and then our body last, then that's the correct structure of your life.
Well, yeah, what's called? I'm structuring everything. It's just what's called. I'm trying to eliminate all the distractions in my life right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to put God first above everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so, like, I've been working all day. And my body's sore or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have time or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You just need to actually, like, put the time in and just, like, do it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, yeah.
So, that's what I've been working on.
No, that's
Just actually
I think
putting
that's
the
something
time.
I'm
Yeah.
always working on. So I think that's
Yeah,
valid.
I'm always struggling with that, I feel like. And so I just want to, like,
Yeah.
just get it done, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
have a very strong relationship with God, you know?
Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah.
I think that's the goal for everyone. I heard a sermon this past Sunday on it's this idea of living your life in alignment with God.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you can tell that if your life is in alignment with God is if you have peace.
Yeah.
So if there's like a certain area of your life where like you don't have peace with something,
You need to, like...
it's because you're like, if this is how you're supposed to be living, like this is God, this is you. If you're here, of course you're not going to experience peace because like, that's not what God wants for you.
Yeah.
So whenever we feel peace in our life in like different areas, that means like we're living in alignment with His will for our lives. But if we're not, then that should show us like, oh, maybe we're like deviating from there a little.
Yeah.
And that, like, I think that's just something that I have been a lot more like mindful of even like this past week.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah.
And even like I feel like we need to like kind of stress the importance. So I mean I don't know if most of your viewers are in the States, so I'm kind of this is more targeted towards
We were talking about this, yeah.
towards the American citizens or U.S. citizens. Is it can be dangerous living in the United States, really. So, and I mean spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, think about how comfortable the United States is, right? And this is kind of trippy because ideally you would want the comforts that we have in the United States. But this is a crazy story that kind of tripped out my mind. There was a lady, she was experiencing like crazy hardships, crazy stuff. It was like in a country in like the Middle East. It was wild, and she had a lot of hardships. And she went to the United States. She fled to the United States, and she actually went back to her country. And she explained that the United States had like this demonic lullaby, which is really trippy because it's basically like think about the amount of like lukewarm Christians, right? It's like we're so comfortable that we're living in this like
Lullaby.
Yeah, we're living in this like demonic lullaby. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the enemy. You know, if I was the devil, I'd want to get people as comfortable as they can. Like I wouldn't want to send people off the war, because then they're going to start questioning their death and their eternity. But if you had them in a place that they never had to question their eternity, then they're just going to live not in care of where they're gonna go when they die. If that makes sense.
That is such a good point.
Kind of trippy thought.
I mean, I 10 million% with like agree with the idea that America, especially like Western Christianity as a whole, it's just like people don't fear God.
Right. Yeah.
It's so sad to see.
There's not God-fearing people anymore.
Right.
In the U.S., really.
No, there's really not.
And it's like the fear. I think it's like the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Right.
Yeah.
Which is pretty gnarly to think about, because I mean, think about it. Like, and like this was me for like my whole life. Is like we get baby fed by church, by youth group, by pastors. Never really care to do it ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like none of us are grown. I'm not saying you guys. I'm saying like me, anybody on the same boat. But it's like you got to seek Him first, not fame, not money, not all these other things. Just kind of crazy.
I just read Job. Like I actually just finished it this morning before this.
Job's such a good.
It might be my favorite book now.
Really?
Honestly, it's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Dude, I'm in love with it. But like the amount of like stuff that I've taken from it, and like this is the fastest book I've read through. Not that I've like sped, but like I finished it in a week just because I just couldn't stop reading it.
Yeah.
But one of the verses was like kind of similar to the Proverbs. It's like the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And then Job says that, but then after that, it continues and says, and to shun evil is understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that makes me think, okay, if we want to fear God, or if we want wisdom, we fear God. But how do we fear God? We shun evil.
Mm-hmm.
Because we understand that when we shun evil and we turn away from evil, that's when we gain the favor of the Lord. We can gain that wisdom from Him. And that's when we'll fear Him.
Bro, that's so good. That's so good because, I actually didn't know that verse, but it makes a lot of things make sense because what I learned, and I had some sins that I've had since for a very long time. And it was not until like I shunned evil, right? Like you like relapse into the things that you didn't want to be in. But like when you close that door, when you shun evil and you close that door, that's like when God opened more doors for me. So it's like when you close that door, when you shun that evil, He opens more doors. It's like you're like telling him, yo, like I'm serious about this. Like I want this,
And also shun, I don't know if you guys know like the definition, but shun is it's a very direct word. Shun means to persistently avoid, ignore, or reject through antipathy or caution. So like God is straight up saying you need to fully reject it and fully fully caution yourself against it, because that's how much of a problem when we like accept sin into our life, how much it can cause a strain in our relationship with the fear of God and wisdom and our gaining of wisdom from God.
Right. Yeah. It's like, how do you shun that evil, right? And it's like how I began to shun that evil because like sin, like especially footholds, these things that like drag you down, like addictions. It's like you have to set, like put that line. I need a word for it, but like you have to like put your boundaries on extremes, like that line away from. You can't ride that line of good and bad because you're gonna fall.
Right.
So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So I loved that verse from Job. That was like, I remember I was sitting there. I was like, wow. I feel like I just got slapped in the face.
Nah, just the whole book
seriously.
of Job is just wow.
Yeah.
Because like the trials and everything that he went through or whatever, it's insane. Because then you look at it and you're like, what I'm going through, like it's not on that extreme level, dude.
Yeah.
So
and like, I mean, I like how honest Job is with himself. Like it's not like he questions God, right?
yeah.
And like it's a lot of us do that. And so like I'm sure like some
But
people,
God wants you to do that, like
yeah, He wants you to come to Him. And then even when Job was on the cusp of like disrespecting God, God did humble him.
Yeah.
And Job was reminded of this. He repents, and then God blessed him tenfold with what he had because he was a righteous man to him.
That, and we could have I actually was on a radio station in Belize, a Christian radio station.
Wait, bro, what?
And we
Bro's on side quest. That's crazy.
And we talked about humility, and humility, like pride is what defiles a man according to the Bible. And
doesn't it say pride comes before the fall or something?
Yeah, I'm sure, because pride is pretty bad, and
It's not to be prideful.
And people, it's pretty easy to become prideful, And a big verse that I've been thinking about a lot is like, is about like the verses about money, and like the attachment to money, which is super dangerous. So like, it's not that you can't be rich; it's the attachment and the emotional connection to money.
It's the point where you put money as an idol above God.
Right, exactly. And it's also like, man, if you're rich and you got fame and you got everything, like pride's really easy to like consume, to become super prideful. And you need those moments that God just kind of humiliates you, honestly. But that's what kind of happened to me with my knee. I got pretty
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
Explain that. No, you gotta talk about that, dude.
So, bad to the bone. Yeah. So, I mean, a humbling moment for me. Humbling moment for me was when, you could be pretty prideful, of just like, being athletic, being able to do a lot of things, knowing how to do a lot. And then out of nowhere, I was about to go traveling. I had a week left. I had just put a break on my work, said I'm leaving. And then I got hit on my moped with a car.
Oh, what? I did not know about this.
Yeah, he ran a red light and just clipped me. And I was pretty scraped up. It happened on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. And I got up real quick, but that night, like my leg was swollen and it lasted for a long time. And I still have like a knee injury. So that's why I came back to Florida, actually, to get it checked out. And I messed up my MCL, I think it was. But I think it starts healing after like 3 months because I didn't completely snap it.
Okay.
Actually, I don't even know how we got onto this topic. But yeah. Just remember, humility is good.
Yeah.
But like, just know that like, yeah, God, like, you use every circumstance and every experience as like a learning lesson, like injuries, anything, it can't just be a moment to like bring you back into humiliation so you don't become overly prideful, because like essentially like God wants you in heaven, right? And he doesn't want you to just, think you're better than everybody else, think you're on top of the world,
right?
Start idolizing yourself, thinking you're like almost a god, you know what I'm saying? But
I kind of like the way this conversation is going. It's like things that we've learned in the past 2 years.
Yeah, dude, it's been crazy because it's like I haven't seen you in such a long time, so it's like, dude, now we're talking about pride, we're talking about like temptations, everything.
I have like another little lesson thing that I learned.
All right, let me hear it.
So this is actually crazy.
Because I love that verse about Job that you said. That was really good.
I want you guys to hold your hand out like this.
All right.
Now I just want you to relax it. What happens when you relax it?
Start shaking. Right?
No, you start bringing your hands in. Like you start.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So this is natural human instinct is to just hold. Is to hold on. Is to like clench. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of back to like the whole comfortability thing that we were talking about. In life, we naturally want to grasp and hold on to things.
Yeah.
When like sometimes it's the best for us to like release it. Notice when you go to release something, it takes energy to do that. And it's something you have to choose to do, because naturally you just want to rest and you just want to hold it onto it.
Yeah.
And so something I've had to learn like within the past year, 2 years is like the importance of letting go of things, especially when you don't want to. It's like, it's one of the hardest things.
That's deep.
It's one of the hardest things ever. But one of my friends, I'm gonna shout out Hannah Sutton. She spoke on this, and this was kind of like a light bulb moment for me. But when Jesus went to get the disciples, he found that, I forget what their names were. It might have been like Peter or something, but it was the fishermen.
Yeah.
And he told them when he found them, he said, "Throw your nets down and follow me." Mm-hmm. And so for them to follow him, he told them to release what they were holding on to, which was their net. And then you notice later, he tells them to pick up their crosses and to follow him.
Yeah.
Which he calls all of us to do. And it's impossible for us to take up our cross and follow him when we still have other things that we're holding on to.
Yeah.
That's bars.
That is true.
And so like for me, as I've like I've been growing a lot in my faith since January. That's when I've like fully committed and I'm like fully all in. So for me, like since I've been doing that, I've had to learn to let go of a lot of things in my life. and it has made like a huge difference for me just in my growth.
Yeah.
That's super true.
No, I can actually like relate to that in a way, because just letting go of like just anger. It could be like just a lot of grief. We've had a little bit of grief. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
You got it. You got it.
All right. You mind if I talk about that?
Dude, I would love it.
All right, bet. So what? About like 2 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
We lost two of our good friends. But yeah. I don't know. Like letting go of like the pain and everything from that. I don't know. It's definitely a big step and everything. That's actually what this tattoo's for. It's called Make It Count. It's for my boy Logan and Caitlin. But yeah, that was a very weird step of everything in our lives and everything. It's definitely changed who I am as a person. I became more outgoing and stuff. My friend Logan, just made me like that person. I don't know. But yeah. How about you?
Can I ask you a question? How did that grief bring you closer to God, or did it separate you from God, or did you get angry at God? Like how was your relationship with God during this and then after this?
Okay. That's actually a very good question. Okay. So at first, I think it was like angry and just didn't understand and stuff, right? And so like I was just like spouting out why, how could this happen, you know? And at the same time, I knew that like Logan wouldn't want me to be sad, right? So I was like, all right, I gotta be joyful. You know what I'm saying? Not joyful that like I lost my best friend or anything, right? But I had to be joyful because that's where he wanted me to be. You know what I'm saying? You know, like him passing and stuff, I knew he didn't want me to be like sad and everything. But it definitely did draw me closer to God because that's what he wanted me to do too, you know. Logan actually was going to be a pastor, so
I actually did want to. I personally didn't know Logan, but I think one of the most powerful things that I've ever seen and heard is because I met him a few times. And he's just such an amazing person. But it was the fact that wasn't it like a day or two before he'd given his first sermon ever?
Yeah, I was actually there for it. It was really good. He was talking about like young people can be like, you know, like a lead people. He's talking about like, you know, how David was young and all these other people, like Mary was even young, but like they led and you know they did things.
God can use young people. Right?
Yeah.
Job, another verse in that is like, wisdom does not equate to the years of your life. So like your age doesn't matter. It's how much of the Lord's favor you have on you and like how much of like your relationship with God like is your wisdom basically.
Yeah.
But then also it was seeing everyone that showed up at his funeral and the fact that like it wasn't just a funeral. It was like legitimately a celebration.
Yeah.
And the death of those two people turned into a movement.
Yeah.
And like just the fact that like it just makes you think that like what the enemy intended for evil, God will use for good.
Yeah. And
I just think that was just like
so many people were moved by it, and a lot of people and a lot of good has come from it. I think even your brother went on a mission trip from something that his family does. They I think do donations towards people that are going on mission trips and stuff. So that's a really cool thing.
That's amazing.
They do, yeah. They're doing like a lot of things like that. So that's really sick. But personally for me, like, yeah, it definitely like grew my faith a lot, you know? There was a big moment where I was just struggling. I was like, dang, what the frick am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And then, you know, I just had to get out of my comfort zone. Because for me, I was homeschooled, right? So I was just very in my shell and everything, right? But Logan was super outgoing. So we had the mix of like super outgoing and like just, all right, shell, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so basically, like, we would hang out, and like, this kid would be going up to everybody, and I would just be like, just following along. Yo.
It's like the shadow. It's like,
Exactly.
like, oh, yo, what's up, bro? What's your name?
I'm like,
Yeah.
my name's Brent, what's up? And then just quiet again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but no, after he passed, like, I became so more like outgoing and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I knew I couldn't go back to my shell.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to be outgoing, I can't just sit here and just be like, all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I pushed to get out and do more things and stuff. Make a difference.
Yeah.
Inspire people and stuff.
Thank you for sharing that, bro. That's powerful.
Yeah, thank you. It definitely sounds like, he definitely had an impact on you.
Yeah, most definitely.
And if you know Brent or have never met Brent has come a long way. In personality, he's grown a lot. Like he said, he was pretty shy. I remember back in McDonald's, back in the youth group days. I think it was like 2019. You see Brent over in the corner just chilling there. He's kind
On my
of
phone,
awkward.
dude.
Yeah, chilling on his phone.
He's looking at the weather app.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. He's like
no notifications, dude.
he's just like chilling on his calculator. Yeah, no, but if you know him now, or if you ever have a chance to meet him, he's always out with friends. He's always doing stuff, going to the beach, super adventurous. And a lot similar to Logan. And Logan impacted a lot of people. And yeah, he's definitely super unique, super cool dude. You won't find a lot of people like him. But
You want to talk a little bit about Caitlin?
Yeah, Caitlin was among, Logan and Caitlin were dating at the time.
Yeah.
And Caitlin was one of those people that she was super kind, like a really kind person. Like you could just count on her for anything. Like anytime I'd invite her anywhere, like usually people show up late or questioning to see if there's something better to do. Caitlin was just super supportive, and she was always there. Like she would always just be there. It was just like
Both of them were, yeah.
if I was in jail and I had one person to call and knew that they would answer and come get me, it would be Caitlin.
Facts.
And that's how Logan was too.
Yeah.
And Caitlin was just super loving, super nice, and just a really good friend. Like never fake, put herself before other people, very servant hearted, and definitely had an impact on the way I was, and led me to be less prideful and selfish and think about more people. And yeah, that was Caitlin.
Yeah. She was the one that I knew more than Logan, and it was. I mean, the fact I wasn't even too close to them, but like when I heard the news, it's just like how unnatural is it for like a parent to bury their child or someone that we know to just pass?
Yeah.
Like,
so young. Yeah.
Yeah.
17 at that. It's crazy.
And like not even from like an overdose or like some of the more common ways that people our age die, but just from like, But I will stand by that. It's just so powerful to me how God worked through that time, and just seeing the community of people come together because of it.
Yeah.
It's just like something only that God could do,
Right. Yeah. And it was their legacy with Jesus. And God did not let that go in vain. He used it in like a way that I've never seen before. Definitely supernatural. Impacted people. Started like a ministry out of it. And it's really crazy to see what God will do in the face of like just things that you just like you can't even stand. You can't even. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's touching on another subject. Just from like pain and grief and stuff. It sucks in the moment in time, but it's so cool to see what God does from it.
Right.
It could be the worst things in your life that happen or whatever, but you can see how much power God brings from it. Like he does so much out of it, and he helps so many other people's lives out of it too.
Right.
People that are going through like the loss of a family member or anything. God's put that in my life now to where I can at least speak life into them in that time now.
Yeah.
So it's very incredible, like what God has done in my life to be able to do that,
So, when people like question almost like, oh, if God is so good, why would he make us experience hardship?
Mm-hmm.
There's I have it written down. Let me find it. There's some verse.
I know for me, it's like he doesn't do it to, hurt you or anything. It's just to grow you,
There's
you
a
grow
verse.
so much.
Yeah, there's a verse I can't find right now, but it talks about how like our trials build like our character,
Mm-hmm.
and
does,
like
yeah.
it really truly does. And like in the moment, I think it's so hard for. I think even in the moment, you realize that sometimes it's like, okay, I'm gonna be better when I come out of this, but it doesn't exclude the fact that like when you're in it, it's so hard.
Yeah.
But like I think Job is a great example. It's like when you're in those hardships, like this is another importance of having that community, like having those people to come alongside you in that. Because genuinely, like burdens are not meant to be carried by us alone. We're supposed to give them to God and have like the godly people come around us and support us during that time.
Yeah.
And like, it's not gonna. It doesn't exclude the fact that you're still gonna have hardships and trials, but it'll make it easier on you.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's one thing I had good community around
Yeah.
in that time.
Yeah.
Especially this boy right here. You know what I'm saying?
What was I gonna say? I never know what I was gonna say.
Bro, think.
What were you saying?
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Shoot.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
I feel like I had more to the subject, but I couldn't remember. It just all it just goes.
Any other life lessons you guys have learned the past year and a half,
Life
2 years?
lesson.
All right, no, I got a question. What's the most impactful quote you've ever heard?
Ooh.
I gotta think about this one.
All right, I might have to look.
I mean, this is not really Christian related. I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's the one that always pops in my head is basically you can build, like, how does it go? It's like you can build other people's dreams. You can build your dream, or you can work towards your dreams or help others work towards theirs, if that makes sense. So it's like we have dreams, we just need like confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like dreams are so possible and so doable, but when you get caught up in like the fame aspect or the money aspect or all these external factors, it makes it a lot harder, in my opinion. But yeah, that's just like a quote that I always think about.
I think my favorite quote, and it's a very simple one, but it's just like it's been like my life thing, is like, you are the 5 closest people that are around you. Mm-hmm. I think that like that is something I live, like I fully believe in.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
That is a really good quote, and that's very you stole a good one. Yes, and like that's true.
And like even like with like the short life, and even with this, like something that I'm so big on is like the community and the people that you surround yourself with, because like I honestly think that dictates your future. It dictates you as a person, and it changes everything.
Yeah, that's
that's the quote that I was actually.
That's the quote that you were.
Sure I
oh shoot,
that's crazy. Yeah. So
my bad.
No, you good.
Dude, I mean this applies like spiritually, relationally, like every aspect of your life applies to that quote. Because like people are like experiences are what like shape us, right?
Yeah.
And people are who we have experiences with.
Bro, I love
We're
that.
doing life with these people. It's so important that who they are as a person is who you're probably going to be like,
Yeah.
Your 5 closest friends is going to be you. Just like, think about it. With Logan, I was super close with him, and his energy like boosted onto mine. You know what I'm saying? So I've become so much more outgoing because of that kid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Actually same with me, because I was really close with Logan at one point.
Yeah.
And they definitely, they have an impact on you. Like every person that you're best friends with, you're going to have a piece of them for the rest of your life.
Right.
And, I've seen in different seasons of my life, my closest friends determine who I am.
Right.
And what sins I fall into.
That's the biggest thing right there. And Oh shoot, what I was about to say. I forgot what I was about to say.
About, I don't know. I mean, I could re-say what I said. So basically, it's kind of hard for people, right? Because it's like, obviously, if it was up to me, I'd have 5 millionaire really Christian friends, Oh, sweet. Then I can learn how to make a lot of money and still be good on my faith. But it's like, how are you going to find those people, right? But it's just like, you got to put yourself into the right situations and the right environments in order to get those friends.
All right, I remembered.
Perfect.
This is gonna be such like a TikTok quote, but all right. You know what? Look at this. Got a bottle of water right here.
All right.
Yep. Where's my water?
If I go to Walmart, this bottle of water will be $1.
My water bottle's over there.
I don't think so.
Dang, we're cooked.
So, it's right there.
Oh, we'll get it in a second.
So when I go to Walmart, this water bottle will cost me $1. Let's say I'm at the movies. Maybe it's like a $3 water bottle. If I'm at a concert, water is going to be $5. If I'm on a plane, it might be like $10. What changes the value of this water? It's the environment that it's in. So for me, even with stuff like social media like this, I have had friends around me that have criticized me for it and made fun of me for it, and they'll say like, oh, like it's just like that's just how boys are. And then I've had people like you and my other friends who will uplift me and praise me, and like for me, for my desires and my wants and like everything that I want in life, I am going to kind of equate that with my value. And so if I'm hanging around people that don't value me that much,
Yeah, that's good.
how is that going to push me to be better? How is that going to add value to me, like this bottle of water?
Yeah.
The people around you and the places that you're in will dictate how you see yourself, like value-wise, and that will in turn
Yeah.
change your whole mindset and change everything.
And you just touched on something that's super important, and people can kind of need to open their eyes up to it. And it's because like you're the people who you surround yourself matters, but it's what they say that matters most.
Words have the power over life and death.
Exactly. Like the power of words is like, we don't stress enough the power of words. Like words is literally life or death, you know? It's like when we use the word toxic, like toxic is like words can be toxic and they can be really draining. And it's like, if you're around a bunch of negative people, like that's just going to drain on you.
It's just going to deteriorate your views on yourself. And like, no, words are so powerful. And we did an episode on words, but like,
Oh, you did?
And that was, I'm just saying like, that was my favorite episode we've done.
Yeah.
Because it's not talked about enough.
Yeah, it's really not. And I think about that all the time. It's honestly one of my life mottos is just like the power of words, right? It's like, even if like you have the influence over people, like you're going to be, man, what is the verse in the Bible? It's like you're held accountable to, you know what I'm talking about? That verse?
Yeah.
Do you know it?
There's a verse that talks about how we're judged on every idle word we speak.
Yeah. And
I mean, idle, when I think of the word idle, I think of things done without thought.
Yeah.
And like, okay. This will really get you to think about the words you speak over people. I want you to think about something really mean that someone has ever said to you. Can you guys think of something right now?
Yeah.
Brent, can you think of something? You don't have to say it. I'm just asking, can you think of something?
I mean, I can think of it, yeah.
Yeah, so...
He said, I don't want to say it, though.
No, so my point is, you can remember something that someone said to you, which means that you're holding on to that, because words really do have that much power.
Dang.
It's something that you're probably going to remember for the rest of your life, but think about this. The person who said that to you, odds are probably doesn't even remember saying it to you.
That's a good point, actually.
And so words will stick to us, but they mean so little to the people that speak them that they don't even remember speaking them.
Yeah, that's a mind-blowing. I actually didn't even think of that, right?
And so when I first heard that, I was like, oh my, like that just makes me want to be so much more mindful of how I speak to people. Because like, if I'm remembered more for, like, let's say people remember the words I say and more of them are negative than positive, I'm speaking death over people.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And like, words are also the one thing you can never take back. You can ask for forgiveness for them, but you can never take them back.
Yeah, because you know what else is kind of trippy to add to that? Is like, you can spend a whole lifetime building up your name, but it takes 5 minutes to ruin your reputation.
Oh, bro.
Oh,
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, like that was just crazy because like 5 minutes, like a minute, like your words literally have the impact of changing the direction of your life. Like every time you speak, it can change the direction of your life.
Wow, I love that.
And you can change others too. It's not just you. You can, if you uplift someone and you're a positive person and you're like, yo, you're great at this. Like you're amazing at this. In fact, like I see you being at X, Y, and Z. Like they will probably remember that like forever.
Right.
And they're always gonna like respect you as a person. And like you really do have the ability to change people's life because we don't, like most people don't recognize like their importance in this world and how much they have effect on the world and the people that around them. You know what I'm saying?
The last thing I want to say like on this topic is like one of my favorite verses ever is Proverbs 4:23, and it says, "Above all else, guard your heart, from everything you do flows from it." And like not just on the basis of words, but there's like so many things that this can be tied to, but on the basis of words, it's like whatever comes out of your mouth is a reflection of what is in your heart.
Oh, that's good.
And so if I'm like actively like gossiping about people, or I'm cursing, or I'm doing all these things with my words, it shows me how my heart is inside. And like we're called to bear our fruit. So we're like when we change through God and we have fruit like of gentleness, self-control, kindness. If I'm not bearing that from my heart, like that means I haven't grown at all,
Right.
And so like, but there's also like on the same, like, I don't know for you guys, but for me, I used to listen to so much rap. I cut it out completely back in January. And like, because I'm not consuming like curse words and like drugs, money, like all this stuff, like it's made it so much easier for me to like stop speaking that. And like,
oh, that's good.
I like guarded what I consume in a way,
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And this, he was talking about how when he went to North Carolina, right, you got a lot closer to God. And when I went to Belize for 2 months, I got a lot closer to God. And part being is because the people I was surrounding myself were only like-minded people that wanted to be in a relationship with God and wanted to strengthen the relationship with God and only listen to clean music. And it's just like all these environmental factors like really shape your future. Like the things that you intake and the things that you surround yourself, like he said, with the 5 closest people, like it matters.
Yeah.
It matters to a crazy degree. And like little things like that, like the movies you watch, the music you listen to, the people you talk to, the people you surround yourself with, like it'll shape your future, and it can shape, if you're going to heaven or hell, really.
Yeah, for sure. And it's something that like some people will look at like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But then again, like that's the same people living in the demonic lullaby.
Yeah. Seriously.
Civilization. And so a lot of people don't want to take it seriously, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it, which is why we need stuff like this podcast to get it out there, because if we don't talk about it, who is? And it's just going to keep getting worse,
Yeah, it will. And it's like, if we keep on living the luxuries of comfort and just not thinking about our actions and just like, well, I'm just, everything's great. I'm listening to music. I'm going to, go sleep around. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. It's just like, you can do that and your life might be awesome in a way. You might feel kind of empty, but at the same time, you're filling with other things. You might feel on top of the world. You might be full of pride. But like, there's a certain person in the Bible that's like everything is meaningless. It really is.
That was King Solomon, the wisest man.
Yeah, to ever live.
Yeah.
Nah, and what's called with like going to clubs and filling your time with all these like little like things, it's honestly not even like really worth it, dude. Like, what was I gonna say? I keep on forgetting what I'm saying, but it's I forgot what I was saying, dude. It sucks.
You just reminded me of something great.
Probably right.
So I'm sure you know Tallahassee, right? Party capital of the world.
Yeah, I when I was straying, I visited twice. It didn't help me at all, I will say.
I don't think it will help you, but no hate on the people in Tallahassee. But what I will say is from some friends of mine that went to Tallahassee and then left, they didn't enjoy it in the end. They enjoyed it in the beginning.
That is so true, yeah.
But they became dead inside. They're just like, man, this is like, this life kind of sucks. It's like, man, I just, go party, go drink, etc. Like, it's just on this repeat of just, it's kind of weird, and everybody gets sick all the time. And it's just like the ideal life, partying, living it up. Like, they just left. They're like, this is not even fun. This is it just gets old. And then at the end of that, like, you're always going to come back to something spiritual because it's inside of you, right? It's like you're always going to come back to this feeling that, like, there's more. There's more than this surface level stuff. And I know you had to say something, so. But yeah, just start thinking about that. Start thinking long term, not just short term. And the people that have already been through their party stage and all that kind of stuff, like, it's not as great. I don't think it's as great as everybody make it out to sound.
Also, like, my thing is, like, it's temporary. That's what I was trying to figure out. It's temporary. It's only temporary enjoyment. Why would you want temporary enjoyment when you could have an eternity of enjoyment with God? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're doing all this stuff for just temporary enjoyment.
You know what Satan has done such a good job of with, like, both of that? It's comparison. And, like, there's a verse that says comparison is a thief of all joy.
Yeah.
Because we don't want joy in life. We want peace, because joy is like a temporary thing and peace is sustainable. It's something that we feel. And so when people see everyone going out and living this lifestyle that's like, oh, you're missing out if you don't experience this in college, if you're not out there partying, like, Satan is literally having them compare and then stealing their joy, stealing their peace, so that they can go out and experience what they think, because society tells them is like the ideal lifestyle to live while you're this young. Yeah. But, like, kind of back to what you said, Brody, I don't think anyone ever has had a party phase and then, like, a year or years later they say good things about it.
Yeah.
Like, no one's like, dude, I'm so happy that I got 50 bodies, that I deteriorated my health, that I got a beer belly, that I was addicted to drugs. No one sits there and says that they are happy about that and that they're proud of the choices they made. Everyone, when you go to Vegas, there's a reason why you say, oh, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You're not proud of those choices you make.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it very quickly can lead down the wrong path, right? It's like comparison, it's like you feel like you need to do X, Y, and Z. Is like you just won't be happy, and it's like social media is the greatest example of this, right? Yeah. It's like what people don't realize is when you're looking at all this advice, like even relationships, it can be dangerous because it breeds discontent.
Oh my gosh.
And what you said is like, it's really great. It's about comparison. It's like, why does comparison like bring us down? Is it's not the act of comparing one to another. It's like the after effects, right? It's like after you've compared yourself to another person, it's like the pursuit of trying to attain this fiction, this image of what life should be like. You know what I'm saying? It just breeds this discontent that's just like, it just doesn't feel right.
That's the thing about social media. It's all fake.
Yeah.
Literally like 5% of social media is real.
Honestly, that's so true, because like even a creator of social media, like whenever I try to make, like I like to make like travel content, but usually doesn't do good. But the content that does do good is the stuff that's dramatized,
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that's just like, that's made for like a 5-year-old, just like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like if you really want to get a lot of views, it's pretty dramatized, pretty just, you make it seem so much more dramatic than it really is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
People have such small attention spans now.
Yeah.
Honestly, you can thank TikTok for that lately, dude. It's crazy.
Well, that's like a whole other thing, a whole other topic. But like, I'm telling you, bro, Satan has accomplished so much in these past 20 years with just like cell phones.
Yeah.
And like, it's terrible, like, and we were talked about this a while ago, but like, it's even down to the fact that like, you can't even slow down and sit in silence with God anymore because of your anxiety, or the fact that like, you've accustomed to your brain to when you get bored to just whip it out your phone and just scroll and get that dopamine hit.
Like what if we went like on like a fast and we just get flip phones for like a month,
bro? Low key, that would be so like, and like when I've gone to summer camp without my phone, I'll say it's like one of the most liberating things.
Yeah, because you're in the moment with everybody else. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, sorry I keep grabbing the mic from you, Brent. It's just like, man, this is stirring up so much stuff.
We're on so many topics here, dude.
Yeah, we're on so many topics. We've covered so much. But man, something that really changed the game, and then I forgot to mention in those 2 months that I was gone.
Yeah.
Is that I fasted a couple times, and that was the first time I've ever fasted.
Oh, really?
And it's like,
wait, what did you fast? Like your phone,
just
like
food, just no
okay.
food. And it's because I've been so comfortable I forget what like uncomfortability is like. You know, it was like a lot of what other countries experience. You know, in the U.S. you don't experience that. And so I was like, let me just fast food, and you can do that anywhere. That's what's great. And it's like you said, like these distractions. It's just like when we get bored, we pull out our phone so quick. Now we've automatically locked our attention on something, and you can't focus on two things at once, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just not possible. It's not multitasking is not even real. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, that's odd.
in the sense of like doing two things at once, you can't do that. You can hop between things, but when you're locked in your phone, you're already doing so much. You have so much dopamine that's just just being drained. But it's like what's great about fasting, in my opinion, is just like you feel this uncomfortability that you just like you're forced to like if you do it for God, if you fast for God, it's like you have so much more time to talk with him. You know what I'm saying? You don't have as much energy to like do all these other things that you deem as important. Like when you're struggling, like when you feel like you're just so hungry and you're so thirsty, or you just feel like super dizzy, etc. It's like you're not worried about all those things. You know what I'm saying? You start questioning like your health, your future, your life. Like, whoa, like I'm not invincible. And I would just recommend, do a fast from food for a couple of days and just take that time. Like, you're not going to be up walking as much on the third day, I'll tell you that much. And you'll just be sitting there and you're like, well, what else can I do? Forget my phone. I'm doing this for God. And you just begin praying and you be getting that authentic time with God. And
wow, yeah.
And he'll show you, he'll talk to you like things you've never experienced. And definitely recommend that. But what you were saying is great, and it reminded me of that. Just a way to get away from the distractions of the world and the habit of, because we've built up habits. We've built up bad habits of just boom, pulling out our phone every 24/7.
Yeah.
That a fast is a good kind of break from all that.
Bro, something that you actually said on a podcast a while ago that like it's still in my mind. You said that you kind of set this up. You're like, okay, whenever we like see an old person in public, what do? They want to talk to us because they grew up in a generation that didn't teach them when you're bored, play your phone. They were raised on like actual human interaction.
Yeah. Yeah, like seriously, it's a completely different like nowadays, like most people like this is a good little saying to wrap it up. Everybody back then could be a salesman today, if that makes sense, because everybody talked to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody was just like, you're forced to talk to people, and nowadays we kind of have this false sense of friendships over our phone and Snapchat, and we're really isolating ourselves, but we feel like we have all these friends. So like when I used to pull up my Snapchat, I'd have like 1,000 messages, they'd all be all red.
1,000 shotties.
Yeah, 1,000 shotties. But I was like friends with none of them, It's like crazy. You spend so much time snapping. You spend so much time trying to like, with your game, you have all these people that's on your phone.
Like who you really are.
They don't know who you are and you're not friends with them.
Right.
It's like we're creating this false sense of what life is supposed to be like. Like, first of all, they're not your friends, and we're slowly losing this ability to really communicate and talk with people.
Right.
And communication, like relationships, I feel like are going to start going down because people can't communicate with their spouse. That's just my guess.
Oh yeah. So to wrap that up, also that, and also what we just talked about with the comparison thing, like a number one relationship killer is like, bro, I mean, like, I'm sure you guys have seen those videos on TikToks where, like, a girl set her phone up. She'll record herself, put some sound, and then put some text on the screen. It's like, saw one. It's like, if he doesn't like Taylor Swift, it's a red flag. Got like 1 million likes, and there's thousands of comments of girls agreeing with this. And it's just like this idea that, like, these people will put their delusional ideas out on the internet so that other strangers with delusional thoughts will see this and agree with them. And then people who might not even necessarily have this on in the first place will see thousands of these people agreeing with this delusion, and it'll make them believe it and think it's okay.
Bro, that is crazy you just said that, because dude, what the heck? All right, we need to have like a 10-hour podcast and just talk about this
bro,
stuff.
that, like, my previous relationship, I fully believe that like the whole social media kind of ruined some perspectives that people like me and my girlfriend both thought like this is how it should be, when in reality, like, right, that's just what society is saying that they made up.
So I actually, And I actually talked about this with my girlfriend, and because she likes to send me a lot of relationship stuff, and it's not that stuff isn't true. It's not that the stuff is great, and it's not that the stuff isn't relatable. It's the fact that if you get your advice from social media, if one thing pops up that's not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you start getting used to seeking advice from social media, other things, the enemy will put little videos of discontent, little videos
Yeah.
of throwing you off your track, little things of, oh man, he doesn't like Taylor Swift. Oh no, you know what I'm saying?
And that's just like such a like non-extreme example. Like there's some that are like, wait, but that's just the one I can think of that I was like, whoa.
I think that's also another subject for like relationships. Don't get opinions from other people. Just
oh my gosh.
work through
Yes.
it together. You know what I'm saying?
That
So-
is, yes. Yes.
No, because
Amen.
I mean, unless you have like a full-on mentor or something like that, like a good Christian mentor who has a respectable, relationship with their wife or whatever,
And this is what I will say if you are going to go to someone for any advice, is someone who is God-fearing
Yep.
and someone who will tell you truth and pour into you.
Yeah.
Because like realistically, you cannot go to like your friends who are going to be like, oh, bro, do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Because they're not talking from a biblical perspective. Sometimes you just need opinions from someone who know God, who know the Bible, who know truth to pour into you.
Yeah.
You know,
and you got to be willing to hear it because we live now in an era that we don't like to get
Yeah.
advice.
for sure.
We don't like corrective criticism, and we think we know everything. So you got to be willing to take advice, and
That's such a good subject.
even if you're not Christian, I would still seek advice from a Christian because the morals from the Bible and just the basis is just really good.
Yeah.
And it'll set you up for a future. Like even the thought of like just not sleeping around, it'll save that intimacy. There's a lot of like psychological things that'll like aside from the spiritual side, like the Bible, in my opinion, is people see it as like a to-do list or like a rule book, but it really is like it's less for God, it's more for you. Like he's just being like, yo, if you do these things, it's gonna help you out. You know?
And like kind of like even if an atheist were to follow everything the Bible said, I think it would.
You'd have a good life.
It's not like if you look at the 10 Commandments, which society is supposed to follow from a non-biblical perspective. Okay, don't kill your neighbor. Like, don't steal. I think those are things that would. And if everyone followed the Bible, we would have a perfect society.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because there's sin, obviously that's not going to happen. But like, yeah, if everyone followed the Bible, like it'd be heaven. Like,
Yeah, seriously.
That's another big thing about like relationships. Structure your life around the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Your relationship.
And your God. On God. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
You don't want to have a foundation and then it not be built on God. Like let's say it's built on like just sexual stuff
Yeah.
or hanging out with these certain people, going clubbing and stuff. It's not a relationship that's going to last or endure, So you have to build something with God and this other person,
And also, I will say, when it comes to any area in your life, but more important, like more specifically relationships, because that's what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
If you are doing something that is not glorifying God, there's like a verse, and I cannot quote it, but it speaks on like the probative mind and how when we are like totally rejecting God, He will remove His hand of protection from our minds and let us fall into our own delusions.
Yeah.
And I look at this in all areas. If we're not doing something that glorifies God, He's not going to bless and protect that.
Yeah.
But like, especially relationships, if my relationship is not going to glorify God, why is He going to bless that? He's going to remove His hand of protection over that,
And no, I can fully understand that because, I've made mistakes too. I'm
Yeah.
sure you have, right?
My brother in Christ, man.
But yeah, no.
But that's the thing, bro. We're not perfect. Like, we're going to,
And it's all learning steps,
You're good.
to,
yeah,
the person that we are eventually married to,
yeah,
And it's not that we're not going to have hard trials with them and stuff, but we're going to have God with us, and we're going to know that we have God.
Exactly.
God never said it's going to be easy either,
Dude, that's so good, dude. I love talking about this stuff because one thing that I really want to touch on is what you guys just said is really good. It's like, think about the divorce rates and how much it's going up.
and it's going to continue to go up.
It is going to continue up. Because you know why? Less people are positioning the relationships centered around God. And if you need advice, right, where do you go to? Social media, not God. You know?
Yeah.
It's like if you go to social media for a relationship advice before the Bible or before like a Christian mentor, there's something wrong. Because when you're having an argument, right, you want to be able to pray about it and you want to be able to forgive them, right? Like forgiveness is key. And if you're holding this grudge against your significant other and you're getting advice from 1,000 different videos or all your friends from everywhere, like it's going to be really hard to date that person and even continue to marry that person if everybody's just feeding into your ear and listening to a million different voices.
Yeah.
I think that like one of the biggest lessons I had to learn this year was forgiveness. And like forgiveness, something I had to learn about forgiveness is like if you're holding on to someone or something and you're not fully releasing and giving to God and like forgiving them and you hold that resentment against them, all it is affecting is you. And like all that's going to do is hurt you. Like odds are like the person that you're harboring resentment towards, bro, who knows? They could be like not even given a second thought about you, you know,
Yeah,
like
facts.
ever again. And like you're sitting here like resenting them, thinking that it's going to cause anything. It's like, no, all it's going to do is hurt you in your relationship with God.
Yeah.
And like also like,
Well, and also, this is my thing. Let's say that's something that hurt you, right? Use that as fuel for like having a better relationship with God.
yeah,
You know, to actually, let's say you went through that grief and that pain or whatever, just use that and all that anger or whatever, go to God and then turn that around and use it to help other people
yeah.
that are going through the same situation.
Oh,
you know?
that's another thing I love is testimonies.
Testimonies are very great.
Testimonies, like the power of testimonies and like being able to pour into other people from your own experiences.
Yeah.
Like obviously it sounds like
We've already talked about that a lot today. But
sounds like some of us have had to like burn our hand on the stove.
yeah.
But like, you know, Proverbs says that the wise man will like listen to the advice of the wiser people who like have been through that.
Yeah.
So like if I'm telling you like, oh, don't sleep around because, you know, I might have done it. It's like, okay, I should listen to him.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we're not going to listen. Sometimes we need to burn our hand on the stove. But, you know, if we do heed that instruction and listen, we'll have a more purposeful and peaceful life because of that, you know?
Don't go to a carpenter for financial advice, right?
Oh, that's good.
If you need advice, I mean, everybody has been through everything. Like, don't think you're special. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, that's so
that sounds
true, yeah.
bad, but like, you're not different than anybody else. Like, there's someone that has gone through your scenario 99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
And that means there's someone out there with an answer. Now, there's a lot of people that go through the same thing and then go down a spiral. But if you can find like someone that overcome that, then why not talk to them about it? Why not hear their testimony? Why not look for answers?
Yeah.
Right? Why not pray about it? Did you have something to say, Brent?
Yeah, just don't isolate yourself. I mean, when you isolate yourself, I feel like that's the worst spot you can be in, you know?
That's when Satan attacks you, is when you're alone.
Yeah. When you're laying there in bed, right, and you're trying to go to sleep or whatever, devil's just whispering in your ear, dude. Watch more TikTok. But you know, it's just bad, dude. So
And like, again, power of community right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true. So, you know, one great thing for a community is, you know, I used to think, you know, oh, what's the point of church if, you know, most people are lukewarm?
Yeah.
But community is great.
Community is the best part.
Don't rely on just going to church, you know, one day a week and you know, expecting your life to be wonderful. But like going to church for community and those like-minded people or people that want to really strengthen a relationship with God is great. And that'll point you into the right direction of finding Christian friends.
Okay, this is actually funny that I'm bringing this up because we just talked about social media. But I saw a TikTok and it said people nowadays are prioritizing God-centered relationships over a relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing you have to be mindful of. Like, chase that community, but don't rely on it to be what is like the basis of your relationship with God.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, you know, it's in college I've seen, like, I'm a part of a Christian organization called Crew.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been the biggest blessing ever. But I've seen people come to Crew who are like very lukewarm and new in their faith. They'll come.
Yeah.
And, you know, when they're there, they're all God and Jesus because everyone around them is. But then like when they're on their own,
But then you see on social media,
they don't spend time with. They don't. Well, it's not even that. It's like they don't grow their relationship with God. They only do it like when they're like in that community aspect.
Yeah.
Like that community is there to help us to like be there and support, but it's not there to do everything for us, right?
Yeah.
That is so true.
Or those people that have like scriptures in their bio. And then next second, you just see him like, clubbing it up or something,
I saw a girl with that, but then she had an OnlyFans bio in her.
Ain't no way.
Yes, bro. I'm being for real.
I have to say something on this because it is very important, and I've actually done a very big disservice to other people. And just know, if you are following God, or if you pronounce people that like I'm this Christian, you make it look like if you're role modeling Christianity or what a relationship with Jesus should be like, you have to be careful. You have to walk like everybody's gonna fall at some point, but you have to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll make other people fall if you're like, oh yeah, it's okay to club, it's okay to do this, it's okay to do that. God said this, and just misusing the Bible. It can be dangerous for other people. You gotta watch out because, if you're not on the best walk with God, you got to be careful of other people because you can make other people fall.
The biggest, one of the biggest things that I am so like angry at myself with my walk of faith is that the fact that I was hypocritical at one point because, especially like we talk about lukewarms in Western Christianity society, like I've had conversations with so many people. The reason that they're so turned off by Christianity is because they see this person saying they're Christian and then they do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So like everyone has these ideas of like what a Christian should and shouldn't be doing. And like, it's not even like if we think that that's biblical or not, it's just being aware of how others perceive us and how that can affect their relationship with God.
Well, yeah, in the Bible it says for preachers and stuff to be blameless. So when you are speaking life into someone, you want to be blameless. You want to actually be trying to be better Christian,
Yeah.
None of us are, of course, going to be fully blameless. We're not perfect, of course. But
there's examples of this, right? So, and it kind of stinks, but you'll see like these pastors, Now I do think that people with more influence and more power and people that get up to this really strong standing, like I do not dismiss that they had a really strong relationship with God but there is attacks, the enemy is going to be attacking those people and some of them will fall. And then it can stray a lot of people from the church and then lessen their faith because they're like, how is this person that I looked up to like did this? How did they like cheat on their wife or something like that? And it's not that like people aren't perfect, obviously, but the enemy just attacks them. And honestly, like that's why I stray away from saying I'm a Christian because people are going to be like, oh, well, Christians do this X, Y, and Z. It's like, man, like I just have a relationship with Jesus, Like I have a relationship with Jesus. That's what I do. That's who I am.
I love that.
And yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Well, and that's another thing. Like these people aren't perfect, so don't follow everything that they're saying. Just go to God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's good.
Go to the Bible, and if it is like a mentor or something, like that you looked up to and you found something out about, they're going through struggles too, just like we are, So it's just like, just doing life with these people,
Yeah.
And, that could be a past thing, There's people that are in jail and they get saved and they become Christians. And afterwards, they did all the crappy things and like they could have killed someone, right? But God forgives them, right? And they're saved.
And then he uses them.
Yeah.
Right. Like George Jenko said this on his podcast, but like, why does God use the broken?
Yeah.
Because they know how to speak to the broken.
Yeah.
And so, you see all the people like Paul in the Bible, like he doesn't use perfect people. He uses the people that are imperfect because that's the people with the biggest transformation and he does the biggest things with them,
and you know what also is kind of crazy to think about, you know, and there's no like if you haven't fallen into these temptations and you're walking with God really close, that is great. But another thing too that I think about is like God uses the people that are broken, but there's also the sense of like I was reading like verses on fasting, and one of them says like don't fast to make it look like you're more spiritual than others. So I want to keep it quiet. You know, when you tithe, do it in quiet.
Yeah.
A lot of these things he says, do it in quiet. Like don't do it to make it look like, hey guys, I'm more spiritual, or hey, I'm this guy, you know? And
Yeah.
it's the same psychology of like, hey, if I've already been through this bad thing, you know, I'm not like, hey, I'm not more spiritual than you guys, right? Because when you come across like that, it might be harder to connect with people. You know, when you're like, hey, you know, I've already been through this. And then, you know,
And
different mindset.
I'm gonna let Brent speak now.
Oh, what's it called? That's another thing. Like, don't act as if you're perfect, you know? Or let's say like you're doing life with this person or whatever. Like, don't act as you're better than them, even if they are a new follower of God. You know, you might be ahead in a way in your relationship, but don't act like that because that pushes people away. You know,
Like, there's another quote I heard.
you just need to sit down and just be like, "Yo."
Yeah, there's three types of people. People that talk about drama, people talk about something, and then people talk about ideas and growing and stuff like that.
Something I just wanted to say about like not acting as spiritual when you talk to people.
Yeah.
Something that I saw. You guys know Cliff?
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's
He's
talking about the influencer guy?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So something that I noticed that he did whenever he spoke to people is his humility. He always like talked about himself as if he was the worst sinner ever, and he was very clear that he was imperfect, even though he's probably like, you know, he definitely is more spiritual. Like he did a conversation with Logan Paul, and when he sat down, he referred to himself as a dirty, rotten sinner, and like, okay, you might not sin as much as Logan, but you're still very aware that we're all on the same, like God sees us all equally.
Yeah.
And so like whenever I ever have like a spiritual conversation with someone, I always do my best to like assert that like, okay, like dude, I'm literally just as imperfect as you are. Like I'm not worthy of this at all, but it's because of Jesus that like I'm saved. And like just having that humility whenever you talk to anyone is like not trying to act spiritually, because that's a turnoff to a lot of people. Like I was doing a Bible study with one of my friends recently, and he told me like, dude, I like this conversation with you. I feel like whenever I talk to other people like on campus, because he goes to FSU, it's like they always seem like they know so much more. And so like if you go into like conversations like that, not trying to act like you have all the answers and that you know everything,
Try to act like you're better than anyone. You know?
people will listen to you. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
You got to be down to earth with people, you know?
Yeah.
Stop trying to have an ego, you know?
Yeah.
Trying to be like you're better than everybody, you know? It's just, you have to just actually be down to earth with people. And
Yeah.
be like, yo, I'm going through the same thing too, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm struggling too, you know? Or I might know this, but, you know, I can help you with a certain situation, you know?
For sure, yeah.
And man, that's really good. Is like be real with yourself. Like don't even fake it. Like really, like when
Yeah.
you talk to God, you know, like I started doing this recently after I started learning more about pride. Is like God, I like when I pray, I'm like I started off sometimes like to like lessen myself, so I'm not putting myself too high. I'm like, God, like I am nothing.
Yeah.
Like I am a grain of salt. I am nothing in the face of everything. Like I am. Oh, grain of salt.
Grain of
Yeah.
Salt podcast. No,
Like-
sorry.
Like we are nothing. We do not well, we do kind of like, you know, but we don't matter. You know, everything's meaningless. All these things. It's just like it's same applies with people. It's just like I'm not more spiritual than you. You know, I'm not this top dog guy. I'm not like don't look at me as this high and almighty person. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like before you talk to people, you know, humiliate yourself. Start thinking in your head. Start saying it out loud. Start saying it in prayer. Like, don't hate on yourself, but just remember that it's good to humiliate yourself and not be super prideful. And let's just define pride real quick. Some people might be confused. It's like thinking that you're better than someone else is elevating yourself above someone else. Godly confidence is good. And people confuse the two. Godly confidence and pride are two different things. It's good to have confidence in God and godly confidence. But pride, when you think that you're better than someone else, when you think you're above them, you're looking down on them, that is what defiles a man.
Mhm.
That's what you got to be cautious of.
Forgot what I was saying.
Okay. Yeah.
You forgetting everything today,
Yeah,
Brent.
thanks. We're hopping all over the place.
Who do you guys got for Trump and Kamala?
Yeah, this is what's gonna
Hey,
go viral
little,
right
little
here.
lead in. Brent, bop your head.
Welcome back to no.
So yeah, real quick though, I think that God displayed how really he was on a whole national display when during Trump's assassination attempt.
Yeah.
I think that was like the fact that he survived that he should not have.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I
it
mean,
was a setup. I don't know.
I don't know, setup or not. I mean, you can't fake. I mean, you can't like purposely shoot someone's ear like that. I don't think that's possible.
Dude,
Dude, he moved his head at the same time and like
Yeah.
it should have hit his brain.
That's impossible. You can't even fake that. You can't set up a fake shot like that. Now there's discussion if it was it was the Secret Service.
Yeah, I don't even know about that.
Yeah, it could be like the Secret Service that did it or whoever. Who knows? I don't think we're gonna know unless some stuff gets leaked. So it's at least to say that Trump got really lucky, and I'm sure after that he started thinking about life after death. So I'm very curious to see what will happen.
Yeah, no, I mean I think the first like a public appearance he made after that, he did accredit it all to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty Christian dude, I think.
But
Not too sure.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but well, let's hope.
He has some very questionable things that he says, but
I mean back to like the discussion of appearance is everything.
yeah.
If he really is a Christian, he definitely doesn't bear all that fruit.
He doesn't bear the, impression of it all the time, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was some amazing divine intervention there.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important to show that God he has his hand of protection over America. I don't know for how much longer, because I feel like America is very disrespectful to God.
Yeah.
And I do fear that his wrath will be upon us, but who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary to see, right? Because like the U.S. started out like foundation on God,
Yeah.
Even in it's like the Pledge of Allegiance on the quarter or whatever.
Yeah.
But we were pretty God fearing, I think. Like we were pretty on the right track, and over time, as you've seen, we've kind of been on this downfall. So
I mean, you see the stories in the Bible of the nations that happens to when they leave the trail of God a little, and you see what happens to them. You saw
Right.
Sodom and Gomorrah. You see where was Moses from? The Israelites, Egypt.
yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like, let's say, when he went up on the hill and then creating the golden calf, it's like we're doing that now. I was seeing from like
You saw the
the
Olympics?
Olympics. I was just about to say
That was
pretty
wild.
bad. But like, man, like you just see evidence of it everywhere. Like we're so lost as a nation, but there's so much spiritual stuff going on. Spiritual attacks, a lot of like I guess we all have to agree on at least one thing. And if you listen to this podcast, I would say you got to agree that there's more to the physical realm. Like there's something spiritual that is there. There's something spiritual, because believing in nothing, I think, is laziness. Like believing that there's nothing, and you know what I'm saying?
I think the biggest argument against Christianity is like the whole science thing. But it's crazy to me that people say that, because like it's like you can't fully prove the existence of God. Like, okay, you can't, but there are signs that point to it. There's things that don't contradict the Bible, but back the Bible up. And like when it comes to religion, especially Christianity, there's an element of faith. Like
Right.
in order to fully like believe it, you do need to have a little bit of faith. God, fortunately, gives us enough signs for us to accept it and as truth. But like for the people that need like 100% hard evidence, like they're never going to be able to accept it.
With nothing, like earlier, like think about it, like anything.
Even with the atheist theory, there's no actual like way of saying that's 100% either.
Right. There's nothing.
We've actually like I mean it's a study like it's not actually 100% like proven that that's the way it went. You know.
Yeah. And so it's difficult because like
So even the atheists have faith in their own belief. Think about
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just
And I would argue that there's more evidence for God than like for I mean obviously, but like I mean back to the Olympics, I think that all of this stuff even more so it proves the existence of God because why would they be so heavy on mocking him if he's not real?
yeah.
And if you look at like all the religions, I would say that Christianity today is the number one persecuted religion, and I don't think that's by mistake.
I mean, yeah, it's like, it's so obvious that there's something spiritual, right? Because, like, think about the attacks on, like, Jews. Think about the prophecies fulfilled in the Bible. Think about, like, all these signs. Like, think about how the Bible just works, like, in general. Like, it really is a living book. Like, you see all these things. Like, why does everybody attack Christianity when there's so many religions? Why is Christianity always, like, on display of being mocked, like you just said? Like, it's just, like, it's really crazy to see, There's always attacks on Christians.
And like it's not like other religions aren't attacked because like Book of Mormon, the play, there's a whole making fun of Mormonism the whole time. But I would say Christianity is the most and like the one that's continued the most. And like it's everywhere, bro. Like even places you wouldn't see. It's in the music industry, it's in Hollywood. It's on the whole worldwide scale now with the Olympics.
And think about every movie. Think about all the demonic stuff. Like everything kind of centered, like all like the evil kind of is like centered around like the devil. It's just kind of weird because there's like little hints and little things of the devil in like a lot of horror movies.
Why on earth would artists in the music industry attach imagery of Satanism with upside down cross, pentagram, all this stuff, and
666,
and then just say things like, "Oh, you guys are reading into it too much. It's not that deep."
Right? Yeah.
Like, bro, okay, I maybe if it was one artist, but it's like
it's a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, like even like rituals, like demonic rituals, like blood, and there's a lot of weird stuff. Like it's not just for no reason. Like it's not just for fun and games. Like it's crazy to see. Like it's really everywhere.
Yeah. No, Satan's goal is to normalize it, so that way when it's all in full scale, people aren't going to question it as much, right?
Yeah. Like don't even want to talk about like a Ouija board or whatever. Yeah. It's pretty tough. Pretty dangerous.
Yeah, those things are scary for sure. But, we have full confidence that we're going to be safe from all that.
Yeah.
Because we got the Holy Spirit. We got God on our side.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. Well, that was cool. Real quick, I mean, like when you have Jesus, like you shouldn't be afraid of demons. You know? You shouldn't be afraid of like casting out demons, etc. Because you have Jesus.
They
so
literally
much power.
Tremble at the name of Jesus.
Literally, like you man, I saw this documentary of this one guy. He's from India, but he walked into like this like there was like the local witch doctor, which is like super like there's a lot of witch doctors out like that you'll
like
see
voodoo stuff.
Like voodoo stuff,
Yeah.
like everybody goes to witch doctor for healing and all that stuff like that. And you'll see some crazy stuff. Like outside the U.S., like there's some pretty gnarly stuff. Like I don't see much in the U.S., but outside the U.S., like there's a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of witchcraft.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff with Mayan culture, all kinds of culture. That's pretty gnarly.
Happens. It's just we don't see it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, because it's called all this like social media and stuff. Like it doesn't show any of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's all hidden.
You know what Satan has done a good job of in America?
What?
Kind of like you said, hiding that. It's making people think that like, oh, witchcraft, that's not real.
Yeah.
If people are ignorant to that and don't believe it's real, then why would they believe that Satanism is real? Which in turn, like, why would they believe that it's like the contradictory to Christianity? And so like they don't believe in the spiritual and they're not aware of it. So he keeps them ignorant.
Dude, and the pastor I was staying with made this so real to me. And how he does that big time is movies. What a better way to desensitize someone to something. And because you think movies is a fictional, as soon as you put like a fictional movie, everybody thinks it's fake. You're like, okay, I know this didn't really happen. It's fictional.
So your guard is down.
And so your guard is down, and then you let these doors open for the enemy and the devil, and now you've let in the enemy and desensitize yourself to it's there. So now you don't think it's there, but now it is there. Now it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really messed up, but just
It gives you false ideas of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't even see that it's there. So just be careful what movies you watch because you'll desensitize yourself to stuff that's really there. Like,
And no, you should be mindful of whatever you consume.
Yeah.
For sure. What are your guys' thoughts on like R-rated movies and stuff like of that nature?
I've never watched an R-rated movie in my life. Nah, I'm just playing. I don't know. I haven't really put too much thought into it. I mean, how about you, Brody?
I mean, I personally try my hardest to not cuss, right? So a lot of R-rated movies depends what it's R for, and so usually it's language, nudity. What are some other reasons?
Drugs, violence.
Drugs, violence, gore. So like a lot of that just desensitizes you to things that are really happening in the world, and also can teach you some stuff. R-rated movies are honestly like they can be dangerous. They really can be. Like horror movies, like a lot of like, give me a crazy. What's a horror movie that's super demonic?
Have you heard about the new Long Legs movie?
No, I mean I've heard of it. I
Oh.
haven't seen it, obviously, but
Oh, no, yeah. So I actually just got so heavy into horror movies over in October. And then as I've grown in my faith, I've decided like, oh, it's probably time to part way from those.
right.
But yeah, Long Legs, one of the most like insane marketing, because I like marketing. So I was like listening to how they were marketing this movie, and it was really interesting the way they hyped it up. But a lot of it was like they had like ciphers to decode for people to decode throughout the trailers. One of them was like Hail Satan. One of them was like a verse from
No
the Bible.
way.
One of them was a verse from the Bible, basically talking about like Satan like rising out of the water or something. And so like the whole premise of the movie is like the main antagonist is a Satanist or something. And so it's like not even hidden anymore.
Right, which is pretty crazy that we've gotten to this point because that probably wouldn't have been able to be a thing a little whiles ago.
Yeah,
you know
and
what
like,
I'm saying?
I fully believe that like demons can be attached to certain forms of
Oh, 100%.
music or movies. And so like you said, like opening doors, you're also like opening yourself to like spiritual attacks or even demons attaching themselves to you.
Right, which is pretty scary to think about. And that's why I personally don't watch horror movies like that. Just like put some stuff into your head, and that can be kind of scary because I've met people in before, like in the past, that were under a lot of spiritual like stuff. Like they were like, yeah, like I was doing voodoo dolls, like I was like I was,
How do voodoo dolls work?
it's pretty trippy. I don't know, like trying to control people, I think. Or like don't even get me started on talking to the dead, like stuff like that.
Well,
like,
you can't even like you're just communicating with demons. You're not
Exactly.
actually talking to like dead people, right?
Exactly. Or like trying to summon demons.
Okay, yeah.
Stuff like that, like like spiritual like sacrifices and
Yeah.
stuff like it's so real. Like people are doing that, and people don't really talk about that. That people are doing this, like normal people, are just
Yeah.
doing like crazy demonic stuff, like in their room or like out in the woods. And we don't even talk about it.
Yeah, no, I saw this one guy on TikTok. I don't know where he is now. This was years ago, back during COVID. He didn't believe in any of this stuff, so he basically was able to find out all the sacrifices and rituals and stuff online, and he recorded himself each day doing a different like satanic ritual.
Really,
I don't know where he's at now, but like
that's pretty trippy.
because he wanted to be like, oh, it's not real, and like prove
Right.
it wasn't real, but like that stuff is real.
Yeah, that's scary. He just sacrificed himself for knowledge.
For real.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, you just gotta be careful nowadays. Just don't be ignorant of what's happening.
Yeah.
I'd say
Yeah.
because it's real. It
For
really
sure,
is.
yeah. Who knows what the world's gonna look like in like 10 or 20 years, but
Right. And I'd rather live. Oh, sorry, Brent. I just thought of a really good quote my brother told me a while ago. It was I'd rather live a life like chasing God and having an eternity than not chasing him and just having a quote unquote good life, because it's either eternity or a sliver of life,
yeah.
if that makes sense.
I think that's another important thing. I'm gonna go on a kind of different subject. It's who you follow. Like, for like, when you're, let's just say you go to a church, right? You have to really pay attention to what they're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because no, like, they could easily say something that's not in the Bible that could like completely mess someone's
So something that like
whole understanding of
one of the
something up.
reasons we have like the thing like grain of salt is because like whatever we say we always end with like take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because like these at the end of the day, we're speaking our best. We're doing the
of our
best to have
knowledge.
God speak through us.
Yeah.
Inevitably, we'll probably mess something up.
Yeah.
So do your own listen to what we
Do
say,
your
but
own
do your own
research. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And research is either consulting with someone of more knowledge, like your mentor, and asking them about it. You know, but truly like read the Bible. You know, like what I did before I even fasted is I went on ChatGPT and I said, "Give me every verse about fasting." Yeah,
That's smart. That's smart.
and I read every single verse about fasting before I fasted.
Reading. What? Just gonna go deep reading. You know.
I didn't even realize you could do that with ChatGPT. I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah. So, and that's a good tip. So if you need to learn about something, I mean, I recommend reading, verses about it or surrounding verses about it. Like pride, like go to AI. We got AI nowadays. You could probably just search it up, but ChatGPT is great. Just or like Gemini, which is like Google's version.
All right, but I do want to say something real quick though. That can all easily be affected though. It's all technology, dude. Think about it.
So you're saying
So easily, the scripture could just very simply be like messed with. So you have to go to the Bible also. You have to go directly from the Word. You know what I'm saying?
no, that's true. You could look
That's
up.
true. That could be kind
It
of
could list the verses and then you go
I'm not
like
trying to-
in your Bible.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
So that is true. You could find the verse and then go to the Bible, but
Yeah.
but most people read their the Bible on their phone, which it's technically technology, right?
Yeah,
So that could be messed with too. So then you could have a real Bible.
Get a Bible, dude.
You could have a real Bible, but then that could be messed with because you didn't print it off and write it, right? Technically, so you just got to pray that it's the right thing. But obviously pray about it too. But yeah, you could always fact check in the Bible, like on the actual Bible too.
Check things.
And yeah.
People say just fact check it.
Yeah, always fact check everything.
Yeah.
Don't be like our generation now where they listen to something on TikTok and now it's the religion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's called bandwagon effect.
With my relationship now, I swear.
So actually a big sales tactic is bandwagon. So just know most people, and you're probably a part of it because all of us have been a part of it, is the bandwagon effect, which is like if you can get a lot of people to believe it, anybody else pretty much will, you know?
Yeah.
And then if you don't believe it, you're an outlier, which means you're not accepted,
Yeah.
which is pretty crazy to think about.
You don't have a Tesla Model Y like everyone else does. You're such a loser.
What you wear you don't you're famous and
you
have a lot of money and you don't wear Gucci? You know what I'm saying?
Just imagine being in like the bougie like era to where it's like, oh, you don't have this handbag?
Right.
Frick off. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you don't have the newest Jordans?
Bro, I'm so glad
Who are you?
I'm so glad I'm not a girl. Like bro.
Well, no, even guys do it, dude.
Well, I'm saying I do it a little as a guy, so I just can't imagine how much more I would do it as a girl. Okay, that sounds really like sexist. I don't mean like that. I just imagine in my head that like based on like conversations I've had with girls, they just care a lot more about that stuff, you know?
Yeah. I get you.
That's very true, by the way.
But no, just think about the people in LA, dude.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, you have to be wearing this stuff or you're not like cool. You know what I'm saying? Imagine just idolizing certain material. Like, all this stuff doesn't matter. Like literally, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. My shoes doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Solomon said it perfectly in Proverbs. It's like all of this stuff is meaningless. It's like chasing after the wind because, you know, like when we get to heaven, like who's gonna care like about the $200 Yeezy slides I saved up for when I was in 9th grade that I poured all my money from 2 months work of paychecks for, you know?
Yeah.
And then also like, okay, all right, dude, I had this thought the other day. I was talking to my brother.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Think about this. I don't know about you guys, but when I play video games, and I don't play them too much, but when I play video games, for me, I like video games where I progress. Because there's always like something to grind for.
Yeah.
And then once I finish progressing and I finish everything,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, now what do I do? Like I've done everything.
It's completed. You're like, okay, what the frick?
And so in life, we kind of play like a game because our whole purpose in life is to like, okay, level up to the next thing.
Yeah,
and
my
like
favorite
think
thing
about
to
those
say.
people at the top that have everything. Think of how meaningless their life is. Like if you look at celebrities that have everything, what do? They turn to a lot of bad things
Yeah.
because they don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
You see what Megan Fox has been doing? They've been like her and her boyfriend. I think it's Machine Gun Kelly,
MGK.
MGK. I think they're like drinking each other's blood now and stuff like that. Like super demonic, satanic stuff.
Yeah, no, it's like when you reach that level, like yes, you have everything, but what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing else to do in life, you know? And that's why, like, you know, like when it comes to God's plan for our life, He has us all designed for a purpose. We're supposed to chase after that purpose and not listen to society telling us to, oh, go get a high paying job that sits you in a cubicle
Yeah.
for 9 to 5, 5 days a week,
Yeah.
you know? Because like maybe we won't make as much money, but our life will be 10 times more purposeful if we're doing what God has called us to do.
Yeah.
And then I believe that God will bless you in
That's
that
one thing.
field.
Just go to God and be like, God, is this where you want me to be? You know?
Yeah.
Is this the position? You know, what do you want me to do? What place do you need me?
Yeah.
And then take me there. You know, it might be uncomfortable at first, but God puts you in uncomfortable places to grow you and strengthen you.
Exactly.
So just do that, you know?
One thing that I always think about is I'd rather have no house and worry about the next plate I'm gonna have, but be chasing God and seeking Him first,
Yeah.
than living in a house with everything that I've ever wanted, but be so comfortable that I don't feel like I need God
Yeah.
and forget to talk to Him and then not be pursuing for His kingdom.
Yeah.
Just like the lullaby, right?
Yeah, so I just don't get attached to the demonic lullaby that is present.
I like the theme of the demonic lullaby we've kind of kept.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's such a good idea.
Yeah.
it is.
Well,
That'd be a good podcast topic next time. Next time on Vegas.
grain of salt. Well, this has been an amazing conversation, boys.
Yeah.
I think it's been very God ordained, and it's been good catching up with you guys and
Yeah, you too, man.
just seeing how God has worked in your lives the past few years.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
I think I have one more thing. Idolizing things. You know what I'm saying? Like, make sure you're not idolizing certain things in your life. Like it could be the gym over God, you know?
Yeah,
Your phone. Just be careful what you idolize
for sure.
over, you know, your time with God.
For sure, yeah.
Or even reading the Bible and stuff, you know? Just it's even a work in progress for me, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. But yeah, just be careful what you're idolizing.
That's good. All right. Well, Gavin, it was fun having us on the podcast. We appreciate
All right, we're
it.
gonna hit the outro. So for the outro, you guys, we all got to say. I'm gonna say, shoot, how did it go? This is Grain of Salt Podcast, number one podcast. Say you, and then we're all gonna say should take with a grain of salt
Should take with a grain of salt.
at the same time. All right, you ready?
Take with
Here,
the
come
grain of
right
salt.
I'm Gavin.
And I'm Brody.
And I'm Brent.
This is the Grain of Salt Podcast, the number one podcast that you should take with
for
a
all right,
grain.
let's restart it.
I'm Gavin.
I should take for a grain of salt.
You should take with
for
a grain of salt.
I should take with a grain of salt.
I'm Gavin,
And I'm Brody.
And I'm Brent.
and this is the Grain of Salt Podcast, the number one podcast that you should take with a grain of salt. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace out.
Dun, 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 dun.
Down.
Peace.